Hey everyone, welcome back to FSi DFS, a massive 13 game slate here, but I can already tell this is not going to be a very long video because there's not a whole lot to discuss. Like, it's just kind of meh. If there's anything that you can take from this slate, though, it's that pitching is very underwhelming compared to like the size of the number of games that we have, and which subsequently means that there are so many top tier bats that you should and are probably going to have interest in here tonight. So looking up in this top salary tier, we're going to go with Dylan Cease, and it's mainly the upside that he can bring. Pay attention to the weather in this game. He's facing off against Kansas City. It looks like there might be some rain around game time. So monitor that, but I think that Cease gives us the highest upside, and he's kind of been up and down throughout the course of his career. He's just one of those pitchers where he's, big boom, but kind of can bust hard at times. Regardless, he's going to be my number one because everybody else is just kind of there. Tanner Houck, I do have him ranked right below him. Tanner Houck's got a nice matchup against Detroit. Detroit, if you recall, they lost Carpenter to the IL, so that takes a big hit to the middle of their lineup there. Tanner Houck, he doesn't really bring the upside that a guy like Dylan Cease can bring, but he can bring the consistency, which I think Cease can struggle with at times throughout the course of the season. So Houck, with Detroit's injuries, with the salary, all that stuff, I do rank him right below Cease. But really, all these guys, like Cease down through Blanco, I don't really see much of a difference between the four of them when you take in comparison, like when you take into account like the price, the matchup, the ballpark, all of that stuff. They're all very similar, and I could definitely listen to an argument where Blanco's the number one or where that Houck's the number one. Bybee, I don't think I would listen to him as being the number one, but I think he's in a fine spot here. With Woo, just be have some concern with his pitch count. He doesn't go up to like 80 pitches or farther. So that's kind of why I'm pumping him down behind the four other guys. And I feel like there's a little bit of a gap between the four and Woo. Going into the mid-tier, Lopez, Buehler, Lopez, and then kind of like another gap, and then facing off against Berrios. I do have Reynaldo Lopez number one. He's got a nice matchup facing off against Oakland. But Buehler also has a great matchup facing off against Colorado. The only issue with Buehler, and I guess, yeah, it's really the only issue I have with Buehler. Just like his strikeout rate is not coming to fruition this season. And he's faced off against Cincinnati twice and Miami, teams that strike out a ton, especially Cincinnati. Like, Cincinnati is one of the highest strikeout rate teams. So the fact that he was only able to manage 4 strikeouts in one of those matchups is a little bit concerning. Only 2 against San Diego, 4 against Miami. Colorado, they do strike out a ton, quite a bit. It wouldn't shock me if he's able to get to 6-7 strikeouts, and he's probably going to be in line for the win. Dodgers, I think they are the biggest money line favorite here on the board, facing off against Colorado and Hudson. But I still am going to go and side with Reynaldo Lopez as my number one. After that, I'm going to go with Pablo Lopez. He's kind of in that realm of like the Dylan Cease, Sierra Nolas. Who's another example? I'm trying to like think of pitchers who like they have such a great upside, but at the same time, when they're off, they're off. And Pablo Lopez is kind of fitting into that type of pitcher, and he's really struggled here as of late. Now he's got another tough matchup facing off against Houston. Low strikeout team, high power team, great lefties in that lineup. So a little bit of concern there, but I still would put him over guys like Berrios and Stroman, who just, I don't know, as pitchers, man, like, they're just so average. So average. I feel like on a slate this large, you just can't really get super excited about playing Marcus Stroman, regardless of the matchup. Into the cheap tier, I almost don't even want to talk about this cheap tier because like it is really rough. Myers, he's super cheap for Milwaukee. He's down here. Anytime you can get a pitcher who can go deep into a game, sub 7K at home as a favorite against a woeful White Sox lineup, you're going to have a little bit of interest in him, regardless of who he is. So Tobias Myers, going to have some interest in him there. Soriano, I do have him ranked above just because of the strikeout upside and that Seattle just strikes out a absurd amount against both pitch hands. So I'm going to go with Soriano and Myers, and then after that, it's just kind of like, yeah, just kind of there. So as you can see, Pitching for 26 starting pitchers on the slate. I have interest in maybe 7. And even that, it's just kind of, oh man, don't put all your eggs in one basket. We'll say that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket here, especially for pitching. In terms of the bats, so many top bats that I'm going to have interest in. You can see the 5 here, but even like Texas, I have huge interest in Texas. Boston as well. Miami, they're super cheap, and they got a great matchup. The issue is going to be finding salary relief. Like, because when we're talking about the Dodgers, we know how expensive they are. We're talking about Texas, like Corey Seager. This guy is tearing the cover off the baseball recently. What's Corey Seager's price? I wonder if his price has increased. I should have remembered this. 5.5K. That's not bad. I mean, hasn't really gone up at all. And you can see he's absolutely been smashing the ball. Home run, 2 home runs, home run, all the way down. So he's certainly coming into play, and he's facing off against Sixto Sanchez, arguably one of the worst pitchers on the slate. So really everybody from Texas is going to be in play. I do like the big stack possibility for them, and they're very affordable as well. Only 3 guys priced above 4.2 that are going to be in their lineup tonight. Boston, I do have them as another GPP team right below Texas. Boston really struggles against pitchers who, have higher strikeout rates. Maeda can't strike anybody out. So definitely going to be a boost to these Boston bats, even more so than normal. And again, they are also extremely affordable. Just 3 guys in their lineup who are going to be priced above 3.6K. So you could even throw Boston as like one of my favorite cheap options as well. Over into the top tier, Dodgers, I feel like there's not much to say there. Cleveland, one of the hottest bats in baseball. They get Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin, though, I've been targeting him for years, and it's worked very well. But there are just these random games where Patrick Corbin turns into Cy Young, and he does super well. Is it going to be here? Who knows? But if I was going to be going with Cleveland, I'd definitely be starting off with Jose Ramirez. Nothing shocking there. This guy, we just talked about Corey Seager hitting the cover off the baseball. Like, Jose Ramirez is averaging 16 DK points in his past 10 games. Like, he's just one of the best hitters in baseball throughout the course of the month of May here. But yeah, I don't know. I worry about Corbin. But Atlanta facing off against JP Sears, Baltimore in a nice matchup, and then Toronto. Toronto, they just love to disappoint, but I still think going up against Falter and the amount of right-handed bats that they have in their lineup who can bring the power and the upside, I am going to put Toronto as one of my top stacks. However, there is some reluctancy with that. Yeah, I mean, I would really just kind of stick with these 5 teams in the top, stick with Texas, Boston, and then I feel like there's a very large gap and then between them and then like Milwaukee, San Diego. But in the cheap side, Miami, Minnesota. Yeah, I don't know. The Minnesota. I'm like debating my Minnesota as the second favorite is the cheap facing off against Blanco, but I don't know. I'm keeping it there for now. Things might change as I get a little bit more research into the end, but I'm very confident and very comfortable with this top, and then very confident and very comfortable with Texas and Boston being my favorite GPPs. So this is kind of where the slate's at. It's really gross. Like you'd expect with 26 teams going that we'd have better pitching, but we don't. It is what it is. But again, don't put all of your eggs in one basket on one pitcher because it's going to be kind of dicey all throughout. So good luck, as always, in your contest. Really do appreciate you guys sticking with this and watching these videos. Remains to be seen if we'll have a video out for tomorrow on Saturday, but do check back to see if, in fact, we do. So good luck, as always, and we'll see you in the next one.